So hello and welcome to my studio recording submission. I'm going to basically be doing a little demo of my patch that I've created. It's essentially a patch that is going to be used to help people in amateur radio achieve higher production standards. So the idea is people who don't have a particularly technological knowledge can use this, use it quite easily as well if they've got no idea about how to use this kind of thing before. It should be quite obvious, and use this to a standard that means it's going to greatly improve their production on their amateur radio station. So as we open the patch, we can see it's quite colourful here, and it's kind of colour-coded as well, which we'll kind of go into. So we've got the sound bed instructions on the top left, which is what immediately is drawn to the eye. Now this is going to give us the instructions for how to work the sound bed selector and the sound bed system. And we've also got the jingle created just below that, and that obviously helps people create their own jingles. So we're going to start off just by following these instructions and see what we can do. So firstly, it says select a sample from the boom menu button. Let's say we're going to produce an EDM show as an example. So they'll go for chilled EDM, and we'll click that, and that is activated just there. And now we'll have to go down to this little bit here where we choose the time we'd like to go for. I'm going to just choose 10 seconds. Obviously this would be, it would depend on your link, you know. You might have a 5-minute link, you might have a lot to say, or you might just want to quickly introduce the next song. So depending on that, you choose a timer on there, and then go down to click start bed. So as soon as the song would end, if you're doing your radio show, you'd activate this, and you'd hear this lovely little bed come in there. This will just stay around for 10 seconds, and then own, which I believe is just coming up here. So we get quite a nice sort of subtle fade there. Usually, obviously, that would be a hands-on approach. You'd be moving the sliders up and down. But if you're presenting and producing, which a lot of people in amateur radio do, that can be quite difficult to achieve. So another option we've got is a ducking effect on here. The ducking effect isn't sort of immediately brought to mind, brought to the front of it here, sorry. You have to find it bottom right. But there is a little menu here. If we click on this, it brings up the help option, and that will talk us through some of these extra options and how to use them. Simply, I wanted to put the main instructions on the front of the page because it's quite an easy patch to sort of get things wrong initially. You might think it looks simple, but there's a certain order you have to do everything in. But these ones are slightly more complicated, so I thought I'd add a help screen for those. Okay, so if we enable the ducking effect here, and then go back, we'll choose the same jingle, we'll go for 20 seconds this time. What this does is essentially duck down the volume of the beds when we get significant input from the microphone. This essentially allows us to have a consistent level throughout. It's used usually on more commercial stations, but it can be a really useful tool, and it sounds quite nice as well. So we'll go again, we'll choose the chilled EDM one, and we'll choose 20 seconds, and initiate it with the ducking on. As you can see, when I talk, the level withdraws significantly and then returns once I stop talking. So yeah, this can be a really useful tool, and I think really add to the professionalism of an amateur production. Okay, so we're also going to look at some of the other options. I'll just turn the ducking one off there. If you do want to talk for 5 minutes, I didn't want to create, an option where you'd have to choose, I don't know, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, because beyond, if you're going to have a long chat, the idea is that, you're not going to know exactly how long it's going to go on for. So for that, I've introduced the option to play the bed continuously, and you will need to manually stop this whenever you're ready. But obviously, just clicking the stop button whenever you're ready is a little bit easier than the whole consistently fading down the faders on the desk. So we're going to go for a tropical pop backing here. Sorry about a mistake with the audio. We're going to go straight on. So let's say we wanted unlimited time. We'd click the play bed continuously option. Going to engage the vocal ducking thing. It sounds quite nice anyway. So once I've done saying whatever I want to say, thank you for tuning in. The next song is Ed Sheeran. We would go ahead and stop that bed, and it would fade out quite nicely. Okay, so the only other option on the bed side of things is the load custom bed option here. Now this one isn't quite integrated as well as I'd like. This is obviously something that could use a little bit more work, because you can click it and it gives you the option to choose from your files. So open up here, we'll go ahead and find something. We'll go back into the radio on here and choose, I don't know, let's go for for beat 1. Now what this does is it loads it in, but unfortunately any time that you would like to change that and then go back and start it again, you are going to have to, or if you choose another bed, you're going to have to load in another one. So introducing an automated one, hopefully that's something I can do, if not something that I can hopefully complete very, very soon, possibly after the video. So now that's loaded in, we'll just do 10 seconds, hit play, and there we go, that's a backing that we've got, that we've imported. Now if people want to import their own songs, you know, or even an entire song, obviously that will loop, option is there, and it just means, you know, you can have the option of adding a whole song and dying out when you like, just to make it a little bit more versatile. Okay, so we're going to go on to the jingle section now. Now this allows you to record kind of a little version of a jingle and then play it back whenever you like. So first you just hit the record jingle button and say something, so I'm just going to say you are listening to a radio show, and then we'll go for it and see what it sounds like. You are listening to a radio show.
You are listening to a radio show.
Now, as you can see there, basically what happens is it applies a lot of slightly out of time delays and a reverb and a slight change in pitch as well. So we've got that huge kind of chorus effect to give it that massive gravelly tone that you find so commonly in commercial jingles. Also, we've got the option to add effects as well. So if you click the play jingle with effects option, it's got a small bank of beats and a small bank of sound effects. So it will play the beat with the actual vocals, and then once it's finished, it will activate the sound effect at the end. So we can have a little look at what that sounds like. And it's different a little bit each time to add variation, because obviously listening to the same jingle over and over is never that interesting. So let's give that a go.
You are listening to a radio show.
Okay, and then we try it again.
You are listening to a radio show.
We've also obviously got the dry option, which will do exactly the same as the first time we heard it, so you can play that over music without the effects interrupting. Okay, so we've been through all the individual aspects of this patch. We're now going to sort of see if we can tie everything together and do a little bit of a link between songs. Here we go. Okay, that was Loyal Kana with Isle of Arran, one of my favourite songs off his debut album Yesterday's Gone. Really hoping for a follow-up to happen soon. We're going to mix things up a little bit now though. We're going to go straight on with an indie rock track. This is going to be Ain't No Rest for the Wicked.
You are listening to a radio show.